As you can see, I have a key, but what is it for? Do you want a clue? Listen, but don't look. Now, can you tell me? If you guessed a clock, you're right. What makes this clock special? This clock belonged to my grandfather. If you were listening closely, you noticed that I asked you 4 questions. What is it for? Do you want a clue? Can you tell me? And what makes this clock special? In this lesson, we'll focus on question formation, and I'll try to help erase the common mistakes made when forming questions. Let's take a closer look at our model questions. We'll focus on the first 3. Look at the first 3 questions and try to see what makes them similar in structure. Can you? Do you? Is it? They share the same word order. Verb, subject. That's because we're forming questions. When we form a question, we need question word order. Verb plus subject. That's different from making a sentence. In sentences, we use sentence word order or statement word order, subject plus verb. But when we form a question, we invert the verb and subject. We change them. So verb plus subject is the word order needed to form a question. But which verb exactly comes first? A helping verb. Sometimes we call that an auxiliary verb. Here, the helping verb is can. The main verb is tell. So when I say verb plus subject, that's a helping verb plus subject. The main verb follows the subject. Can you tell? Can you tell me? In this question, we already had a helping verb, can. In this next question, we had a verb in the simple present, want. In the simple present tense, there is no helping verb. All we have is want. When you form a question in the simple present or in the simple past, we need to put in a helping verb to form the question. That helping verb will be do, does, or did. Do you want a clue? If this was a question in the past tense, our helping verb would be did. Did you want a clue? So the helping verb for simple present and simple past is a form of do. Do, does, or did. If there already is a helping verb, we use the helping verb. Helping verb, subject, main verb. These 2 questions take a yes-no answer. So yes-no questions have verb plus subject. Now, in our third question, we have a question word. The word order is basically the same, verb plus subject, but a question word comes first. What is it for? What is it for? So there are 2 types of questions, yes-no questions and WH or information questions. When we're asking for specific information, we have a question word and then verb plus subject. What is it for? Now, let's turn our attention to this last model question. It also begins with a question word, but the actual word order is a little different. Let's think why. What makes the clock special? Well, here's our verb. Where's the subject? The question word is the subject. So this is the exception. We can use sentence word order in a question, but we can only use that word order when the question word is the subject.
Let's summarize what we've learned. For question word order, the verb goes before the subject, verb plus subject. Yes/no questions begin with the verb. Information questions begin with a question word. If we already have a helping verb, as we do in the present perfect, we use that helping verb. In the simple present and simple past, we need a form of do. Do, does, or did becomes our helping verb in the question. If we have a form of be, that verb can stand alone. We do not need to add another helping verb. Look at the first question. It already has a form of be, so no other helping verb is needed. Is it yours? Let's read the other three models. Does the clock work? Where did you buy it? How long have you had it? Let's remember that there are questions with statement word order. This occurs when the question word is the subject. This happens with who, what, and which or which one. For example, who gave it to you? What makes it special? Which one isn't working? Note how we treat the question word as a singular subject, and the verb agrees with that singular subject. The answer could be a singular or plural noun, but we'll still treat the question word as a singular subject.
It's time for your first exercise.
Exercise 1. Learn about daylight saving time. Unscramble the question, then listen to the answer. 1. Use these words to form a question. The question: what is daylight saving time?
You've been in the country for more than 10 years, right?
Yes.
So you must know the American calendar very well by now.
Yes, I do.
Good, all right. So here's my first question. What is daylight saving time?
Daylight saving time is the practice of changing the clocks forward in spring and back in the fall.
2. The question: why do we have daylight saving time?
Okay, now let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Why do we have a daylight saving time?
Why? We have daylight saving time because it's supposed to save daylight. It's supposed to save electricity. So when we change our clocks, we move them forward in the spring and back in the fall, it's supposed to give us more daylight hours, so we use less electricity.
Right.
That's the rationale.
And we can also enjoy summer evenings.
Correct.
3. The question: does daylight saving time really save electricity?
So let me ask you another question.
Okay.
Does daylight saving time really save electricity?
Does it really save electricity? It's debatable. Some argue yes, but some argue no. Some argue that daylight saving time actually causes more problems than it does good.
Interesting.
4. The question, is daylight saving time observed everywhere?
I think you have pretty good world knowledge, so I have one more question for you.
Sure.
Is daylight saving time observed everywhere?
As far as I know, most Europe does, but I can't be so sure about the rest of the world.
5. The question, when do we change our clocks?
I know we move our clocks forward in spring and back in the fall, but when exactly do we do that?
You don't know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's always 2 o'clock in the morning because it's probably the most convenient time to make such a change. People aren't working, they're usually sleeping, and public transportation isn't working as frequently. But as for the day of the week, it's on a Sunday, so it's the second Sunday in March and the first Sunday in November.
Okay.
6. The question, how can we remember to change our clocks?
Truthfully, I usually forget about changing the clock. So my question is, how can we remember to change our clocks?
I don't remember either. I just look at my phone.
You look at your phone?
Yes,
That's right, the time is updated automatically.
exactly.
This is just a quick note to say we have the saying, spring forward and fall back, to remind us how the clocks change. We gain an hour in the spring and lose an hour in the fall. A second note is on pronunciation. Listen to the 6 exchanges again in exercise 1. You will note that in everyday conversation, speakers sometimes ask questions for confirmation simply by using rising intonation with a statement. For example, you look at your phone?